Happy New Year, everyone. This is Ed, Chesscology, and for today's lesson, let's talk about spotting the weaknesses. I want to create a series for this matter. Of course, as you can see, we have here on the board the example of a puzzle and activity where we can spot the weaknesses, how to execute a good plan, a strategy, to how to exploit the specific weakness on this position. But before that, I've been reading a lot of questions. One question actually, it's like common question, especially for beginners or intermediate, like how to create a plan, how to do it, and when to start. Actually, it's like after the opening, what is next? Okay, I already successfully improved my position. I developed my pieces. My king is already safe. I castled. What is next after that one? How to create a plan? How to create a strategy? Now, I gotta give you 3 considerations or pointers in order for you to eventually learn how to create a good plan. Of course, you have to understand the position. Without understanding what's happening on the board, you cannot create any good plan. And okay, it's like a typical answer, like, oh yeah, I have to understand the position. That's okay. What's with that? There are 3 things that under of that understanding the position is number 1, you have to understand first the positioning of your pieces. Just for example, where did you put your knight? Is it on a3 or c3? And you have to understand, okay, I put it on a3. The question, is your knight effective on a3 or on c3? So there you go. You are now having some realization that, okay, my knight must be in the center of the board. It will cover most squares compare if my knight is on a3. So for example, okay, understanding the bishop. Is my bishop able to do its part? Like, did I put my bishop in a good square where it covers long diagonal or short diagonal? Is my bishop can go somewhere, or is just I put my bishop somewhere just to make sure I just for the sake of improving it, like not really improving it, just developing it, but not improving the activity of the bishop. So okay, hold on. So since your bishop is not functioning well, you're gonna bring it to the square where your bishop is more effective. Now your rook, it's like it's opening middle game and your rook hasn't moved yet. It's like, hey, you have to move your rook, and where's the effective squares, or what is the best position for your rook? It's open file. So if you spot an open file, okay, there's an open file. Let me put my rook here. Let me cover this open file. I gotta make sure my rook will stand here forever. It's like I gotta cover. This open file is for my rook. So now you understand the positioning of pieces. You will little by little eventually understanding the position. If there's for example, another example, if you have your passive pieces, you gotta make it active. Like, okay, let's do it more active mobility. You gotta consider that. And one more thing, where's your pieces? Where are your pieces gathering? It's like your pieces are gathering in the center. All of the pieces is just targeting the center, or the king side, or the queen side. Just for example, your 2 bishops are targeting long diagonal shot on the king side. It's like, oh, my 2 bishops, they're targeting the king side. Now you understand, oh yeah, I can create a plan because my 2 bishops unstoppable targeting the king side where the king of my opponent is there. So you can create a plan little by little by understanding the positioning of your pieces. Number 2, of course, you have to understand what space is. In chess, development is easy to do. You can just bring out your knight, just push your pawns, your bishop, and then just develop. However, check the space. Who got the most space, you or your opponent? After you move out your pieces, can you have some maneuvering inside of your territory? Or it's like, oh, my bishop cannot go somewhere. After I put it on, for example, d2, I have my pawn on e3, I got my pawn on c. It's like, oh, my bishop is cornered. I cornered my own piece. It's like your queen, your rook cannot move. So you have first to understand what space is. And of course, thirdly, our lesson for today is weakness. How to understand. As you go along, as you keep playing and playing, as you keep learning, studying what weaknesses, how to create plans, just solving puzzle. You gonna what? Improve your analysis, spotting the weaknesses, and let's try here. So this is a white to move. Where is the weakness of black here? Which square? Could be a square, could be a piece. So weaknesses not necessarily talking about piece, could be in square or squares. It really depends. Now let's talk about the space. We discussed earlier that okay, it's very important for pieces to have squares for you to do some maneuvering or to really move your pieces around. So since this is almost touching the end game, it's of course opening, middle game, end game. So space wise, both of them are having some good enjoyment of the space. The queen can go somewhere, the bishop is not tied up. Of course, the knight. However, this one, this is a good position. It's there's some like a friction on bishop on b2 and bishop on g7. Question here is seemingly black is doing pretty well defending the king, and the king is a little bit out here. It's like okay, end game, your king must be active. Yeah, that is correct. However, there's a chance for white to attack the weakness here. You can pause the video and okay, where's the weaknesses here? Number one, if you're done pausing the video, number one, this bishop is targeting this long diagonals. Like okay, number one weakness of black here is there is no light squared bishop that can challenge this bishop on h3. On h3, it's like, I'm not a king, but this bishop is feeling like a king. You cannot stop me. And because of that, there's a pawn here that bishop is attacking not only bishop, but also queen. Okay. But okay, hold on. Black with two defender? Come on. How can this pawn be a weakness? You got two attackers, two defender. How is that possible? I can also move my knight here. If this is black to move, yeah. If, for example, I move here, that's okay. My knight is in the center. There's a challenge here, and then it's like, okay, it's endgame. Let's just have some endgame skills after that. However, it's white to move. Number one weakness is this long diagonal, which white can exploit. And this pawn, number two, okay, it's like it doesn't make sense at first. And the third weakness is this open file. Okay, there's a queen and rook covering the c file, and you are telling me this is a weakness. Yes, not really that weakness, but an opportunity for white to cover this one. And one of the weakness here is this queen. How can this queen be a weakness? Imagine this queen is protecting or defending the rook on c8 and the pawn on e6. And if this queen move away, cannot afford to lose. Neither of this, like, no way. I will not give up this pawn on e6, rook on c8. Question: if you are white here, how can you stress this queen is like overloaded? If one piece is supporting two pieces at the same time, or space, it really depends. Just for example, one piece protecting the space or the square, and the piece at the same time, that is overloading. This queen is overloaded. Depending, it's defending this e6 and rooks on c8 at the same time. Now, Let's go for the rook c1. Okay, this is not a weakness, but because it's actually covered by two pieces, like a battery attack, a battery solid position. But there's a rook c8 targeting the 9 points, which is the queen, and the queen cannot go away without considering the rook and the pawn on e6. So let's okay, I want to go here. Let's say I'm gonna go here. Now here's the second weakness that we have to attack, the pawn on e6. Imagine this rook can capture now the rook. However, there's what you call an in-between move where black cannot react to protect the rook on c8 because the king is under attack. It's like, oh, and the queen cannot react either, has to do something, or else it will be more fatal for black to ignore it. Let's go for bishop takes e6, and this bishop is attacking the queen, the king, it's a check, and the queen cannot ignore this one. Obviously, queen takes queen, and now it's like this rook can capture, but there's still a queen. What you gonna do? Remove the attacker. Remove the defender. By capturing the defender, queen takes queen. Of course, it's a check. Check. Double attack. King has to react. And after of that one, the overloaded queen is nowhere to find. Captured. Rook takes rook. And that's a goodbye position for black. Seemingly in this position, if you will not spot the weakness of black, seemingly the position for black is totally fine. We have 6 pawns on the board, white and black. The queen and the rook, they're covering the c file, which is in the fundamentals theory that if there's an open file, cover it. And a good thing, it's like, come on, it's battery. However, because of this weakness, in between move, check, the wrong position probably of the king, white was able to execute some extraordinary in between move with a check here on e6 and able to react properly to protect the rook on c8, and it's a game over for black. Now, if you enjoy this simple lesson, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, follow the bell. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support, and comment below if you have something to say. Have a wonderful day. Happy New Year.